Welcome to the High-Tech Investments News Report for week 47. The news report covers some of the many investments projects High-Tech Investments is currently involved in so you can follow our progress. We hope you will enjoy this news feed and look forward to your comments and remarks.
Hi, Bo here. Welcome back to this week's news report, where once again it is time to have a look of what has happened in the past week, and there's plenty of things actually to talk about. There's plenty of things again to show you exactly what has happened. Forex market is still in a bit of an uproar. Last week we discussed that there was a bit of a tsunami of drawdown coming in. This has also continued for that past week. In here now we're going to have a closer look of exactly how that implemented, and also some of the pairs like the British pounds, USD, as you see on this particular graph here. You can see how much is moved, 934 pips in here over the past couple of weeks. And that is definitely devastating for a grid trading company. Or also if you have money within a Pamm account, and one of the Pamm accounts actually through Expert Forex has blown up in the past week in here. Had a bit of a drawdown already of more than 70%, and it looked like it just finished off at the end of the week, where we had another spike here in the US market. Obviously, this is bad news. We're going to have a closer look at it to see how bad it actually was, and if there's other things that are actually coming. So because things are most probably far from over yet. But the good news is that as we are setting up here the Lucky Trader, which we are setting up on $1,000 accounts, that seems to have dealt quite well with some of the market's movements here, because we're also using a new strategy in here, a different way of actually having a look at it, setting up the settings and then testing them from there on. And we are actually using a bit of an Excel sheet that I also shared with you last week, where you can go in mathematically and then figure out exactly what is your drawdown depending on your lot size, your grid size, and also the percentage you either increase or decrease it with. So hopefully this will take care of a lot of things. We have already implemented this on some of our Wave and RSI Liberators, including also small adjustments on the Lucky Trader based on the last couple of weeks of market movements in here. And obviously we're also going to talk about Alex and Expert Forex. There's also a new best prop firm robots actually coming out. There's a link to this particular one in here also through the video. So make sure that you watch it all the way to the end, and we'll show you everything here through the next 25-30 minutes. So we're going to start off with Yieldnodes as always here, again on the platform, because there's no emails or news from either Steve or Urs this particular week here. We go in and click on the coin reserves in here. Actually brings us up for the latest Yieldnodes participators, part of total coins owned by Yieldnodes in here. And we obviously see the entire list over here, 7, and we have beer also we discussed before. The two that we are interested in is the PNY that we have and the SAP. And we can see the development from week to week. So up here is the number for week 46. That has increased. So for week 47, so that is good. You can also see that there's masternodes running for the PNY of 229, and now there's 232. So things are moving. Somebody is actually doing something here behind the scenes. In the meantime, let's go and have a look at the SAP coin. This is where we left it last week at the red part. And we can see that there has been a bit of a positive movement. So in the last day or two in here, so on the 24th, 25th, some positive movement. And for once, it's actually going in the right direction, which is up in our particular case in here. Not by much, but it all has something to do when it comes into Yieldnodes here. Everything has been very negative lately, and everything has just gone down, down, and down. So at least nice to see just a few days of positive news. In the meantime, let's go and have a look at our staking here also to see how that has been going. And that's actually quite good for past week, 560 SAP. So that means 2 entries into our wallet in here. And you can also see the November part is now one of the best ones here overall for the entire year. Just on the same level as we have on August and right behind May. So 2 times 560 SAPs in here. So that makes 1.9% for the week. Definitely good when we consider that we are simply just having the money sitting and doing nothing here anyway. But for PNY, there's not really anything happening at all. The last one we got in was from the 8th of November. So that means nothing has moved so far. You can also see November is actually the worst one we have in here. And for the month of May, on contrary to the SAP here, that was also a bad one. So let's see how this is going to go. It will be nice to get one or two more in at the end of the month in here. But again, this is very unpredictable all the time. Staking is not very stable, as I mentioned. But Bitcoin seems to be on the move, and last week we talked to you about it, saying this now reached new altitudes here of $92,000. Since then, it was heading for 1,000, but as you can see, it just fell short in here. And at the moment, as we're shooting the video, it's just hovering around 98,341. So it's not far off. Most probably, we're going to see it's going to crack the $1,000 ceiling here in the next week or so. On the Trillant news, well, there's not much news yet because we are in a bit of a limbo here for the month of November. We have mentioned before that if you have incorrect ton address, then you need to go in and have a look and send that. And there's a certain link in here to make sure that the Trillant team is actually getting this updated for you. Hopefully, by early here December, we should start seeing some of the ton coins coming in, and then we'll see what happens pretty much from there. The team will pick it up, but until then, there's not much news or updates on any of the social media channels. We notified you also here last week that CoinStore doesn't basically have Tree anymore, so that has disappeared from us now. And all we have to do is wait until the new system comes in place, as I mentioned here, early December. In the meantime, let's go and have a look at Trade Explorer. The 10-pair one, after last week, it was more than 1,100, has come down again. So this was due to the US elections in here. $289 or 2.9% is basically what the Trade Explorer managed for week 47. And we're going to have a closer look exactly where that puts us. We can see the balance, and this is again the link 146C. So we have a lot of people from Expert Forex copy link service that are copying in this particular channel here. And floating profit and loss, as you can see, is only minus 17, so that's pretty okay. Total returns 293. So you can definitely understand why this is a popular one, with a monthly return of 7.5 and weekly returns of 1.7 and a history of 557 days in here, continues to go up. If we have a look at the net profits in here, I mentioned last week was 1,100 and 1,161 to be precise. Since then, it actually dropped down again to 289. And that's also what we had in prior weeks. So that is most probably the level that we're going to see right now. There is a lot of currency trending, as I mentioned here before, and that also has an influence on the overall profits. The Wave Liberator has also been hit by that particular tsunami wave in here. So week 47, top 5 EAs. We don't see any huge numbers for this particular week here. New Zealand CAD made $54 or 5.4%, which is obviously great when you're talking about a weekly profit. US Swiss francs, $54, 5.4%. Aussie CAD, $49, 4.9%. Euro USD, $42, 4.2%. And then Euro Great British Pounds, $41, 4.1%. And overall, these top fives in here would have made you $239 or 4.8%. So if you were to trade these on 5 $1,000 accounts, so they are working pretty well at the moment. And you can also see that on the graph. Look how smooth it is when you're actually putting in the portfolios here. Balance started off with 22 accounts, $10,000 each. And you can see the floating profit and loss is actually up minus 15,000. It's only a few accounts that are actually making this particular trouble in here, thanks to the US market. Total returns 13.8%, monthly returns 1.2, and 0.3 again for the weekly returns. This is because we are doing it on $10,000 accounts. If you want to do it just on $1,000, you should be able to get roughly around 12% on the monthly basis and then 3% on the weekly. Look at the trade wins here, 76.5. Plenty of pips taken in here and a history now of 461 days. So plenty of history, and you can find a lot more details on the website where you have most of all these currency pairs. So on the coupling service, and as I said, there's a few that seems to have run away after the major disaster in here, but most of them are still very much under control. All of them have now also been adjusted to our new way of doing things in here mathematically. Hopefully that will basically also show that this is working in the future. So let's go and have a look at the entire portfolio. Has $528, slightly below last week's 576, and also slightly below what we've seen in the past weeks, but it is still cashing in on a very regular basis, and that's what it's all about. That's why you're actually building up these portfolios in here. We're also going to have a look at the RSI Liberator for week 47. Top 5 EAs in here. You see the same pattern again. Nothing major, so stands out. Euro, Great British Pounds, solid $43 or 4.3% for the week. Same with the Great British Pounds Japanese, also $43, 4.3%. And then Euro USD shortly after with $36, 3.6%. Also New Zealand, $33, 3.3%. And then Great British Pounds Swiss francs, $32, 3.2%. And overall, these top 5 made a solid but low $186 or 3.7%. But on the other hand, you can't really basically take the results and say 3.7% is bad for the week. We believe that this is still very good, very fair. But compared to the rest of the times, yes, we are a bit on the low side. Balance in here, still going forward, 239,000. Again, 22 accounts, $10,000. Also here we have a floating profit and loss of minus 17,000. So definitely also jumped up here. We have been in all weekend here to try and adjust the settings to try and make the new things and tools work for this particular part. So that means also, again, we have a monthly return at the moment of 1%, weekly returns of 0.3 or 10 and 3% if you trade them on $1,000 accounts. Trade wins are good here with 65.8% and trades per day 21.9, so still very active. History 230 days, so everything is going good. You can also find a lot of now these links here, both on our website, of course. You can find all of them there. You can click on them. It will take you to the FX Blue sites, and you can see the drawdowns, how much it's cashed in, how long it's been running, all the details that a trader would like to have a look at. And then some of them on the copy link service, where you can go to Expert Forex and you can basically copy the signals in. So they are set up, many of them here now, with the new way of doing it to make sure that the drawdown is even better than they were before. Again, history 230 days, and if we look at it, this one has taken a dip, only $384 for this particular week, so it's well below what we have seen in prior weeks, and I think we have to go quite far back. In August, we had the issues with the IG account, so that doesn't really count, so we have to go as far back as June. So since we saw something that was even lower. But however, you can find more details on the Wave Liberator, the RSI Liberator in here, and also our Pamm account that we're going to have a look at to see exactly how that is operating. And again, it is going up, up, and up. Small little downs that we have here is the drawdowns that we had. We also had some last week again, and you'll notice them on this particular side. So we actually made more than $414 last week, but there was again a little notch down here. A couple of thousand disappeared out of the profit, and that unfortunately also shows up on this particular graph in here. However, this particular week there was no drawdowns, but we have dialed down the EA because of the heavy drawdowns in here, as you can see. So we just made $1,043, and we rather want to do that and then be safe at the end of the day, because what is actually happening here at the moment, we are going to the Expert Forex site. Now, this is not the Expert Forex trading, but this is the site where you can find a lot of different Pamm accounts in here. Yes, Expert Forex used to have their own Pamm accounts. That was actually stopped quite a long time ago now. And then a new trader has taken over these particular accounts. And if we look at it last week, this is what it looked like. It wasn't too bad. Yes, some small heavy drawdowns from here to there, but nothing major except for this particular one here. So this is the algo hedge number 1. So again, this is the HCA, I believe, and it adds minus 73.1%. So that was quite high. So obviously we had a closer look at that. And then this particular week, so it actually blew up, unfortunately, because of, again, the spike in the US market. You can see that this is now gone. And also, if you just go back, have a look, you can see that the total in here was 588. We had gains of 172 and gains in the percentage of 29.2% in here, with an average drawdown of minus 47%. And again, if we go forward here, you can see that the balance is now about 20,000 lower. Gains have also dropped, and also from 29 down to 26. So obviously, overall portfolio has taken a big hit in here. Drawdown has gone up. And we now see this particular week, there's a few new ones that are also in the 70s here. So this is now the Allocation, and this looks like the Liberator portfolio. If that is the Wave or the RSI, I'm not exactly sure. Should be maybe the Wave one, because I see the RSI here. So, and then we have another one, which is from equity. I believe it's one and the same trader that is doing all of them now. So these are also on the scary side here. So hopefully things in the market will help them basically recover again. If we have a look at what we have done in here, again, 264 days, current balance is 267,000. So we have roughly almost half of it in here, but the gains, we have a lot more than half of the gains. And you'll see the difference in here. Gains overall on average 26.8, we have 33.9. And the drawdowns has actually gone up, where ours has been pretty stable all the way through, even though we certainly would like to have it down. And also, before we are shooting this video, the drawdown is actually down, so that is good news. And if we just compare that also to what we had last week, we can see there is a good development in here. The drawdown from the prior week and into this was slightly higher, but again, further adjustments, everything else. Obviously, you cannot change everything once the trades have started, but all of this and the mess actually comes from some of these items in here. This is the Euro USD, where again, when you're doing grid trading, you are trying to find the top and the bottom in here, and then try and divide them into the grid areas. Now with 708 pips again for the Euro USD, that is more than we normally have. And this is basically what was there last week. So this is why I was presenting to you. And this week is now up to 880. This is beyond anything that we had here before. So even the tools that Alex provided us with the trend analysis in here didn't show anything like this. And that's why also you need to have an additional buffer in here to make sure that you are covered. So these are some major moves without enough retracement, basically, to get you out of your trades again, which is very, very unfortunate. And that's why basically the accounts are blowing up. And I'll show you another one. This is the Great British Pounds USD. That has moved 934 pips roughly. Again, the pips is, again, depending on the individual broker you have here. We do a rough measurement. And again, there is not enough retracement in here. There is some small little spikes, but it's definitely not enough to get yourself out of the trade. And that's why you're ending up with 8, 9, and 10 trades in here. And we'll have to see where it's going to take us further from there. So one of the things that I mentioned last week here is we are now developing an Excel sheet where we're trying to basically do the gap scaling. So again, the gap sizing, how much we have to scale it with. We also have to look at the individual pips, because that is important to calculate that correctly. It is different from currency pair to currency pair that we are testing. And then we also need to have a look at the lot, what we are starting with, and the lot scaling in here to see if we can actually make it or not. And you can see it goes up quite quickly depending on the individual graphs, how many grids you are putting in. and then all of a sudden, if you're on a $1,000 account, you are pretty much over and out when it comes to 9 and 10 in here. So you got to make your adjustments, plus leave a bit of space, and then hopefully still make a bit of profits. So, and now this is what exactly the lucky trader was set up with. That's why we almost threw it in the bin here, but we took it back, and then we set everything up in a very mathematical way for the $1,000 accounts in here based on these items. So the best information we had at the time. And you can find all these details on the website. Again, you simply go to the portfolio and then you click the lucky trader. From this picture here, you will basically be able to go to the FX Blue and see the individual ones and see how well or how not well they are under control and what they have made so far. Or you can simply have a look at this lucky trader for week 47, top 5 EAs in here. Euro, Great British Pounds, made $83 or 8.3%. Then we have the Euro Swiss francs, $63, 6.3%. Great British Pounds CAD, $61, 6.1%. And then Euro CAD, $57, 5.7%. Then followed by the lower, number 5, Euro USD, $56, 5.6%. And $321 overall with a 6.4%. So for the week, which is obviously extremely good still. And yeah, despite we have made some adjustments and changes, it looks like there's still profit in here. This one has also gone up in drawdown, so that is inevitable, of course, but it is more under control than the RSI and the Wave has been. And this is because they were built up from scratch, so they were there from the beginning. We have 16 different accounts, so these are the lowest trending accounts that we have set up. But even with the floating profit and loss, you can see our equity is actually down at the moment. Normally that will drag on for 1 or 2 months in here. We'll have to see how long that's going to be based on the latest market movement. Total return is obviously in minus because of floating profit and loss. But again, so are these, most of the portfolios in here looks like this. But our history is only 22 days so far. But look at the trading, 47.8, so it's quite an active EA. And if we have a look at the graph, it looks pretty okay, it looks nice. Also the first week we had here, so this was actually the start of where the US elections was settled. Very volatile, and it cashed in greatly on that one with $1,272. Last week it was 660. This week the trading is a bit on the low side, and it also shown here by 573. So overall, it is going quite well. Because of all this, I'm only showing you this graphical picture of the bell trader. And this was actually the one that started to make me think a bit differently about the setups for the individual EAs. So again, we have a bit of a deviation in here. So deviation 1, 2, and 3 with the middle of the yellow line in here. And then you have a deviation 1 covered with the red ones. You have deviation 2 covered with the blue ones, and 3 is the green ones. Hopefully you don't have to go to the gray one that's lying all the way out there. So that means your grid size is not set up correctly. So this is a better visual presentation of how all our EAs is actually set up. We had to work on the existing EAs, our Pamm account and everything else. And then later on, obviously, we will add additional bell traders to it. So far, you can see since we came in, this was the first trade that was actually set. And then after that, it's set about 4, and we closed out with a $25 profit, almost 26 in here. And again, it has a few open trades. So it's far off from the center line here at the moment. Hopefully it'll be cashing in and doing a lot more. As you can see, they are very tight grids in here, and then they're getting larger and larger. Something similar to what we are trading on the rest of the EAs here right now. Now we also have to go through Alex, an expert Forex, and I mentioned here before that Alex has an offer. So regarding a new free download, so for a proper trading robot, that's apparently been proven. So in particular video here, there is a link, and you can follow that link for a download. You have to register, so just be aware of that. This is not Alex's EA, but he has provided access to this particular one. He is also mentioning that the Black Friday is coming up here. That means that you can get up to 75% off. So maybe have a look at that, or even the special offer for Cyber Monday. So there's plenty of EAs in here. We are trading a lot of Alex's EA robots. They are working. You simply just have to set them up correct, and you have to put in also a lot of time and effort to understand them. Last but not least, he also made a video this week, learn how to use the spaghetti chart. Now the spaghetti chart has actually developed into a spaghetti trader. This is now a few years ago, I believe Alex has made that. We struggled a lot trying to get some kind of stability within the EA. And at the end of the day, it wasn't like it was losing a lot, but it was too unstable for us to continue working with. We tried a lot of different timelines, different grids, everything else that we had in here, but it simply wouldn't work for us. That's why we abandoned it at the end of the day. You can still find some videos about it also on our website. So this is what we had for you in this week's news report. As you can see, things are happening, things are still moving, even though there is drawdowns, there is still a lot of positives to take from it also. You'll notice here that obviously a lot of different EAs with a lot of different settings actually all are in drawdown, which is quite extraordinary, but that is basically the nature of the Forex market. Many times, if you Google it out, you will see that about 68% or 70%, depending on which ones you are actually looking at and listening to, is losing money. And it is definitely a difficult and very hard environment to be in. That's also why we are continuing to develop these new tools, to continue actually to adjust our EAs, to make sure that we are sort of up to date with the market all the way through. We're hoping this will continue to succeed, and obviously also see the drawdown basically go down as we are trading, and most probably also you'll see a reduction in profits, but that's okay as long as we have some safe and slow trading. Continue to move forward. That is what we want in here. And obviously, again, hopefully all our Pamm accounts in here, we only have one. And as I mentioned here before, these accounts are not driven by Alex and Expert Forex. He did that in the beginning. Since then, he has given them over to another trader. And I'm sure the settings have changed many times since then. I know that ours do. So this wouldn't be any difference. But this is where you can go in and have a closer look to see these particular Pamm accounts. It might not be the best time to actually join right now, but when everything comes down, maybe go to Expert Forex, have a look in there, see what he has, because there is obviously plenty of opportunities similar to what you can get also your hands on this particular free EA this week. So until my next video, see you around. Bye bye.
I hope you enjoyed our news report. So please don't forget to like and add your comment below, as we would love to get your feedback. But before you go, make sure you subscribe to the channel and don't forget to keep the notification bell turned on. That way you will never miss any of our future videos. We hope to see you back on this channel very soon.